Yokoso to my channel. We're here in Mozonte, Nicaragua, and I am here with my friend Daisuke, who is a coffee roaster from Japan. And today's video we're doing slightly different. We're going to be having a conversation about his life in the coffee industry and how he got into it and how he ended up coming to Nicaragua for around 16 to 17 years. So it's a long time. Daisuke, thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. And we're gonna start off with a little bit of coffee before we kick off the meeting. So, tell me about yourself. Were you actually born in Japan?
Yes, I born in Japan back in 1974. So it makes 48 years old now.
1974, born in Japan, huh?
Yeah.
What part of Japan was that?
My place is called Yamaguchi Prefecture.
Mm-hmm.
It's far west side of Japan. And it's between Hiroshima and Fukuoka.
Okay. And was your family really into coffee when you were born?
No, really. My parents used to drink instant coffee. I was looking at them, when I was little. I don't see them as coffee people,
So there wasn't like someone in the family that got you the door open for you, like Daisuke, check out this beautiful coffee.
Not like that.
Not like that. Okay. And then now, did you grow up your whole life in Japan?
Yes, until the age of 14, I decided to go to Australia for study. At the age of 15, I moved to Australia, a place called Warwick.
Okay.
It's 2 hours inland from Brisbane, Queensland.
Well, why Australia though?
Oh.
I'm just wondering.
Because I had a choice of UK, Australia, and US. I just love the ocean, beautiful beaches. Okay, no other choice. Just go to Australia.
Yeah, that's good. So you were there for how many years?
About 10 years.
A long time.
Long time.
Wow, since you were 14, you were there for 10 years.
15, so junior high school, and then university.
Oh, wow.
And I switched to university, so it makes 10 years.
So would you say that being in Australia for so long kind of shaped a lot of what you're doing now? And
Exactly. Because Australia has a great coffee culture. And they have a deep culture of espresso.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So even when you were there, that culture was still there with the espresso.
Yes, they already had espresso, cafe latte, cappuccinos. It was there already. And I didn't think that's special. But when the specialty coffee turned out, and I realized that the only culture of the espresso is from Italy and Australia.
Yeah.
That's incredible,
Interesting. So but at this point you hadn't really dove into it, right? You were just in the express scene, going to school there. And what did you decide to study while you were in Australia?
I studied I was interested in the economy. So I took the international study, Asian study, international business, and I studied more concentrated topic about Asian economy, business, language, culture, and so on.
Okay, interesting. And at one point, did you kind of make the shift from what you studied to what you're doing now? What led you down this path of being in the coffee industry?
As a coffee person right now, maybe it's not really nice thing to say, but I wasn't really coffee person in the beginning.
Okay.
Honestly, I didn't like the coffee at the first place.
Yeah.
Because the coffee I drink makes me upset my stomach and sweat my face, and I didn't know why. Maybe my body is not taking as other beverage. But I like the coffee culture, and especially cafe and atmosphere. The people enjoy the coffee and having a nice chit chat. And I wanted to make one of the cafe scene in Japan.
That's what intrigued you, the conversation piece, the environment.
That's right.
So you wanted to bring this to Japan over there. And so what was your first line of thinking? Like how were you gonna make this happen?
When I told my mother about, okay, I'm going to be the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And
how did that go, by the way?
Man, just my mother just persuaded me to, okay, if you want to work in Japan, you gotta get into the Japanese company.
Yeah, I bet.
First, yes.
The parents trying to push you down the path they think is
to
best.
a slightly different way.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, that makes sense to me. And I get into the company, 2 companies. And one was a small company, and I learned about sales. And the second company was a large company.
But nothing to do with coffee,
Nothing
right?
to do with coffee.
Okay.
One was selling the caravan from Europe, import from Europe, and then sell in Japan. The second one was I was.
Were you doing a computer or?
A computer.
Oh, okay.
And making work with Excel and
data management. Yeah.
Make some information about company.
So how long did you do that for?
2 companies, total 2.5 years.
2.5 years.
No, 4.5 years.
But at this point, you still had that idea, right? That seed of bringing a coffee environment or a coffee shop.
At that time, wasn't coffee.
Oh.
I just wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Okay, gotcha.
But the coffee was one of the options.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know how to taste the coffee. I don't know how to roast the coffee. I basically don't have no knowledge about coffee at all. And when I decided coffee, okay, the first thing I need to do is taste the coffee. That's why I went to the lesson class.
Okay.
For cupping.
But how did you end up with the coffee? Like saying coffee was the vehicle I'm gonna use.
Okay, there's a long story short. I made a list in a notebook. The things I did, I experienced, things I liked, things I wish to do, which I, didn't like in the past.
Yeah.
Things, just make a list. And after 10 or 11 topics of list, I just look at it from subjectively and just cross the line, connected the line, and came up with coffee. Something to do with coffee.
That's an interesting way to go about it. It's a process of elimination on the things you wanted to do. Yes. Wow. So that's how you ended up with wanted to be an entrepreneur, but you ended up with coffee as a vehicle for that. So you're at these companies then, and then you decide that now you need to go learn about coffee to do this, right? So what was your first steps towards that?
First step is to taste the coffee, but I didn't know how to taste the coffee. And I attended the class of cupping, which is basically taste the coffee. Oh, it was a new world.
Oh man, I bet.
Because I didn't like the coffee in the beginning.
Yes.
But the coffee I tasted there is different. Didn't upset my stomach.
Yeah.
Didn't make me sweat. It was a great taste.
So it was a different caliber of coffee, right? Maybe, you were tasting the filet mignon, the coffee better, better coffee.
And later on, I found out that is specialty coffee.
So were you hooked immediately there, or not yet?
Not really.
Not really, huh?
I was slowly getting into the specialty coffee. Okay, this is something different with the ordinary coffee that I used to drink. But I wasn't sure why different. What makes the difference? I didn't know. And I needed to take time and just came up to the idea that, okay, I need to find out why.
And now, did you work in any coffee shops while you were through this journey, or no?
No.
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 Wow. So you get into tasting these coffees, and then your mind's open to these different calibers of coffee. And once you realize that the coffee does taste good, what was the next step?
All right. The next step I took was basically I was keep practicing the cupping.
Educating,
educating myself. I asked the mentor, the teacher. And I attended the class of cupping from Specialty Coffee Association of Japan.
The SCA, yeah.
Yes, SAJ. And one of the teacher told me that probably I can attend one of the Cup of Excellence judge in the future, near future.
Ah.
Because I can speak English, I can express my emotion, the opinion about coffee,
Wow.
and I just hyped about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're stoked. You're hyped, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get into it more
Yeah.
after I hear about that.
Oh, then that kind of intrigued you, huh? Like
Yeah,
got you
just-
hooked.
It was a trigger.
Yeah.
And I started harder to learn about cupping and get into the specialty coffee business right after that.
Oh man. And then, so did you? So entering the market in Japan, what was your plan for that? So you're getting all this, you're learning, you're experimenting, but then what was your plan to enter the market?
Because I didn't have any strength about my business,
Mm-hmm.
so the first step was learning how to taste the coffee. The second step was to go to origin, to
Go
learn
visit.
about coffee, learn about coffee producers, variety, process, what makes a difference between specialty coffee and commercial coffee.
But at this point, you hadn't opened anything in Japan yet, right?
No,
No, you were
just about to start.
just about to start.
Yes.
So tell me about your first origin experience. Where'd you end up?
First origin was Colombia.
Okay. What year was this?
Back in 17 years ago.
17 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
So 2000, year 2000.
2005?
Mm.
5 or 6.
Wow. Okay. A long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago anyway. And because it was first experience in origin, I had no idea. I just saw coffee farm, meet the coffee producer, cupping so many cups in the
Yeah.
Cup of Excellence, and just blow up my mind. And
Yeah. You were. Wow. I bet.
Yeah.
Bet. Yeah.
So my memory was kind of a. How can I describe it? It was just so hyped, so energetic, but the memory was kind of. How can I say?
Was it quick? You're thinking, or something different? Like.
Because my experience was so different.
Yeah.
Different, and I couldn't memorize so many
It was
things
too
that
many
happened.
new.
Yeah,
Yeah.
too many new things.
Yeah.
And, just I couldn't memorize it.
Wow.
But the second attempt of the Cup of Excellence was in Nicaragua
And that was the following year.
the following year, and no, it was the same year.
Same year. Okay.
Same year, and as an international jury.
Mm-hmm.
That moment makes me see the things much clearer
Okay.
than Colombia.
You can see the full picture there.
Yes, because I understand the procedure, the process, and different environment. So much different with Japan, and I understand better, and I can observe nice and quietly. Okay, things happening like that.
Wow. So you and being in the jury of the Cup of Excellence during that time, you built some relationships there, right? Or what?
Yes.
What ended up happening that kept bringing you back to Nicaragua here?
At that moment, I thought about I need to bring something back to Japan before I go back. As a coffee person, and I met the person called Sergio Ortiz
Okay.
at the poolside of a ceremony of
Oh wow.
Cup of
Really?
Excellence. Yes, he was waiting for the ceremony to begin.
Mm-hmm.
And I was walking around poolside and happened to just talk to him. How is he? And who are you? And,
Yeah.
and I introduced myself. And we started to have a conversation. And I realized probably he's a similar age as me. And I asked him, can I visit your farm next year to learn about coffee? Because I have no idea.
Yeah.
I know how to taste, but I don't know anything about coffee, especially plantation and process. And he said, yeah, why not? Come over.
That was your first door entry right there. It
Yes,
opened the
yes,
door for
yes.
you to come learn. So since then, you've been coming every year.
Yes, since then every year.
Wow. And how has your relationships changed with the farmers from the start to now?
I think the trust between the producer and myself gets stronger and stronger over the year. Especially after 10 years. All the farmers who I used to have, not used to, but always have a relationship, celebrated the anniversary of 10th. And that moment I realized, these people are happy to be connected and continue the business for 10 years. They didn't express that feeling before.
Yeah.
But after the moment of the 10th anniversary,
You could feel it.
Yeah, I could feel it.
Yeah.
And it was to me, heartwarming and almost tear-dropping.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
And in your opinion, like how has Nicaragua progressed in its coffee sector since you used to be coming first and back in the early 2000s?
Yes. Back in 2006, 7, the coffee quality in Nicaragua was... Some producer produced very high quality coffee, for sure. But it was difficult to create the point 84 or 85. It was very difficult. But now, many producers produce high quality coffee, like 88, 89.
Yeah. Now they're shooting for 90s.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they improve a lot of quality
And,
over the years.
now you come to Nicaragua right in the early 2000s, and then you go back to Japan. And did you start sharing this with people, what you experienced here, or how does it go? Trying to build, I guess, a community over there for this kind of coffee.
Yes. Because I started coffee business with a small company, but the coffee producers produce a lot.
Yes.
Maybe not much volume in specialty coffee, but still it's much bigger than what I can buy. So I asked some producers, I mean the coffee roasters in Japan, to get together and consolidate the container and ship to Japan.
Smart. So you could bring more volume to Japan.
Yes.
From Nicaragua.
Yes. That was the initial idea, and I'm still doing that.
And now, when you approached these coffee roasters, had a majority of them heard of coffee from Nicaragua, or was it like a new thing that you were bringing?
It was new things because the Nicaragua as a coffee country, it's kind of a minor compared to other coffee regions.
It's the underdog, huh? Usually, yeah.
But the coffee quality was, I noticed, very good, especially to the Japanese people who used to drink the green teas.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the umami, the very gentle the delicate flavor. I think the Nicaraguan coffee is suitable for Japanese people.
Interesting. It fits with the palate.
Yes, fit the palate. Yes.
Okay. And now, did you do origin trips with your roasters, your coffee roasters and your buyers?
Yes, definitely I did. One of the mission was to explore and study together and understand more about coffee producers. My focus is to understand that, not only about the cherry, not only about taste, but the lifestyle in Nicaragua, the lifestyle of coffee producers, how difficult to produce high quality coffee, that kind of detail stuff is very important. I felt very important to understand, so I tried to share the informations.
Okay, that's very smart. You know, bring a group of people with you to kind of open these doors and
Yeah.
experiment with this. Now, do you still have relationship with everyone that used to come, or how's things progressed over the years?
Over the years, some people still work with me, some people not. But I think the majority is still buying the coffee from Nicaragua,
Mhm.
which is good.
That's good.
And after 5 years or so coming to Nicaragua, I start to bring my colleagues, all my colleagues to Nicaragua.
Well, the people you work with.
Yes,
Mm.
to understand about coffee,
Mhm.
because they are the one who talk to customers, right?
Yes.
And they are the one who roast the coffee. If they don't understand the origin, they can't put so much passion into it.
Mhm.
And if they don't understand the altitude or variety or the condition of the coffee produced, they have no idea
Mm.
about the things they sell.
That goes back to, and it's very important because they need to be able to tell the story behind the cup.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Now, what has been your biggest challenge with this in Japan?
Ooh, biggest challenge is to educate the people.
The end consumer, the person.
And consumer, to the roasters, to my staff, educate myself.
Yeah.
That's kind of education is the hardest part because it takes time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
And in terms of Nicaragua, what would be would you say was the hardest mountain to climb?
Good question. The hardest part for me as a roaster, hardest part is understanding of the roaster side of point of view and the farmer's side point of view. In between, there's a big gap, and nobody really understands each other. So they need to get closer, and they need to have a lot of conversation between these to have long-term relationship, transparency, sustainability. Will be the reality. I mean the realistic.
Yeah, realistic or closing the gap, right?
Yes,
Which is the
closing the
most,
gap,
the
yes.
most important. That's very interesting because you have different levels of relationship. You know, you've been coming for so long that now it's something that you build the trust with the farmer, and building that connection to close that gap at the end consumer.
Yes.
You know, we do have some questions from the fans here, specifically Sergio. But what's your favorite coffee variety?
Many farmers ask me about that
Yeah.
because each farmer produces a different variety, right?
But if you had to pick one, you had to pick one to drink every day. What would be your
In Nicaragua, maybe Maracatura.
Maracatura?
Yes, because it's famous. Nicaragua is famous for, and the quality itself is pretty good.
Okay.
Yes.
What about outside of Nicaragua?
Right now, probably I say Bourbon Rosado. Pink Bourbon.
Pink Bourbon Rosado, yeah. Wow.
Yes.
Interesting. I never tried it before, so that's
Okay.
from Colombia right now, right?
Yes, it's from Colombia.
Wow.
Geisha is good, but I prefer more Bourbon Rosado.
Bourbon Rosado. And how would you compare a Maracatura? Like, would you say it has potential to be at higher levels than it currently is, or do you think Nicaragua needs to find a new diamond or a new gem with the varieties?
I always say to producers that there is many possibilities. Maybe even the washed coffee. I think there is many way to produce a nice washed coffee. Maybe producers not realizing the way to make it perfect. So combination of the process and combination of the variety matched together, maybe Nicaragua can be very, very famous for some variety or some process.
Interesting.
We never know.
Yeah, so the combination of the both.
Yes.
Experimentation. Out of all these years coming to the coffee farms, would you say that you fully grasp now the coffee farming?
never fulfill.
Never forget. It's always learning something new, huh? And I think it's because each farmer does different things too, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
it's this link that you have to continuously learn all the time, you know.
I just learn everything in detail, year after year, and never fulfill, as I mentioned.
Wow, that is very interesting. And now another question was, why is your coffee roastery called Milton Coffee Roastery?
Okay, I used to live in Australia for 10 years, and as I mentioned, when I was a student, and Milton is one of the suburbs in Brisbane, Australia, and I took the name from that.
Ah, okay, from where the area you lived in.
Yes.
Tell me, what would be your vision for coffee right now? What you're building back in Japan and what you're doing here?
My consistent vision, and from now on to the future as well, is to have transparency between the roaster and coffee producers. So my mission is to connect coffee producers in Nicaragua to Japanese, especially micro roasters.
Micro roasters.
Yes.
And how would you make that happen? Do you have an idea or any thoughts?
I was thinking about ideas so many years and so many ideas, and I tried some of them already. I guess easiest way to make that happen is bring the roasters to Nicaragua.
Have them experience
Yes.
the culture here.
Because seeing is much effective than hearing. And as I experience in Nicaragua, they will certainly experience a lot of things in Nicaragua too. And I want them to happen. I want them to feel what I felt in the many years ago. And once they understand the difficulty of making a specialty coffee, I think they will have creating the feeling of, okay, I must have a connection with good coffee producers.
A relationship.
And that makes continuous, business year after year. And probably one day, coffee producer also visit Japan, or US, Europe, Australia.
Both ways.
Yeah, both ways. To understand the other side of the coffee. Yes.
Wow, that's good. And how would you make that vision work for the end consumer?
End consumers,
The person buying the drink behind the counter.
I think that each roasters, the company or the shop where selling the specialty coffee need to explain. That means they need to come over.
So they need to educate themselves first so
Yes.
they can go educate the end consumer.
Yes.
So the vision would be closing that gap between this final cup, the person buying it, and what it took to get that to that point.
Exactly.
Educating the person drinking it
Yes.
about the farmer and how it is.
Yes. That's the only way, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think I see that gap myself too. You know? So we have a lot of work to do in the
Any
coffee
work to
sector.
do.
Work is never done.
Yeah.
Well, any last thoughts that you'd like to share before we conclude the video?
Yes. Making a specialty coffee is not that easy, and I haven't seen the past 16 years so many difficulties the coffee farmers are facing. Each year has a different problems, and each farmer has different problems. Even I understand it's difficult to explain to the end consumers. But it's much better than not telling the story behind the coffee. So I'm keep telling the story to the end consumers, what is happening this year, right now. And to do that, I need to have a good communication with producers. And I'm just gonna keep doing it.
Okay. All right, thank you. Well, thank you for taking your time.
Thank you very much.
How do you say goodbye in Japanese?
Sayonara.
Sayonara?
Sayonara.
Sayonara. Okay, sayonara. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video and you found this content very interesting. And if you did like it, give the video a like, share it with your friends. There's a lot that goes behind producing this cup of coffee. We're going to be sharing more stories on this channel, and let's get the word out, you know, so everyone can enjoy that cup of coffee with a better understanding on what it takes to produce. See you guys in the next video. Bye.